So this is let me see. Let me play a little bit of this video. So this is going to be Breach. I'll play it quick and then we'll talk about
Well, a little disclaimer. Can you pause? Like,
it. Yes.
sorry. Because you said it. This is gonna be Breach. Like, this is an early alpha look at something that could be integrated in the MMO. There's nothing
Yeah.
confirmed that we are getting Breach to the community. Actually, that's just something that two developers in the back have been working on. So it's
Yeah.
not like the next feature of Illuvium. I just wanted to make that
Yeah,
clear.
yeah, definitely. And we'll get more into that. But I was actually surprised when these leaks started coming out, because being on the team before, I was able to test this out. But even when I was testing it out, it was just kind of thrown at me, being like, this isn't really like something that we're going to be putting out there or anything. This is kind of just like something that was thrown together with some cool features, and we'll kind of just see how things develop. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out. This isn't like the next big game that Illuvium is pointing out. I guess it's kind of more of a mini game. But yeah, let me just play this and then we'll talk more about it.
There's, by the way, great sound in this video, usually. I really like this part where you have to dodge the abilities from Mephistos, like the
Yeah.
lasers.
Even when I was playing it, it wasn't this developed. Like it actually had all alluvials around instead of these like the placeholder ones there.
Yeah, we have seen the future monsters that gonna replace the placeholders also in the leaks
Yep.
right here.
Let me see.
Freak
There's
show.
good ones. Yeah.
The new
Yeah,
one
these
is
are
really
pretty cool.
cool.
Yeah, because
This one.
when I was testing it out, it was all of the things that popped up were just other alluvials. It felt a little weird for me because it was the first time I was going in there and having like alluvials attack me. I don't know. I kind of just always thought of it as like they're like more your companions than things that are gonna attack you. But I think it's kind of cool that they're gonna have all these new characters built out for it. But yeah, I think a lot of those features are kind of like built into that game, and those are going to be extracted or used into this MMO light that's going on. I think that video was the only real leak of gameplay we've got, though, right?
No, there was another one on
There's more.
Going Hyper, but it's fine. We don't need to watch it. There was
Yeah,
another
yeah,
one on Going Hyper. Yeah,
yeah. But Karen, I'm sure you play tested that a little bit too, right? What do you think of
yeah,
it?
yeah. Of course. No, it's awesome. I like it. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot to improve on. It's a good foundation for sure. Yeah, like I mentioned this on the download with Skyrox, it's very clearly just a testing ground. The thing is, it could actually be its own full game. I wouldn't call it a mini game. I'd call it its own game. But it's going to take a lot of time, and I think that prioritizing a polish on this takes away from the MMO, but they can use this as, like I say, a testing ground for mechanics that can be implemented. Like for example, right now you look at the boss battle. Right now, you see a Fisto just standing in the middle, and it floats up and it comes back in the middle. It doesn't really move around. Yes, you have to dodge attacks, but that's a very good foundation to build off. For the MMO, you probably wouldn't want a raid where the boss just stands there. You want it to be teleporting around. You want it to be moving around, making sure, like limiting this. Like there's so much to do, right? But this is a very good starting point, I think. And
Yeah,
with the two new guys that the team is hired from Eve and World of Warcraft for the MMO, I think they'll just start working on that. And I know for a fact that this has been a testing thing. This was done by two guys.
yeah,
Chaba for sure. I think it was Gezu. Chaba and Gezu, they're the guys that did this. So yeah, the fact that they built this out, combat can be improved. Like there's just so much that they're doing here, which will be polished for the MMO. So I'm glad that it's not starting from zero.
yeah,
I do wish that this could be polished as a game that I would love to play.
yeah,
But I understand for what I want is selfish. It's not for the greater good of all of Illuvium. So
yeah.
no, I'm very excited to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, in playing that, you at least this version of it, you lose all of the regions that were built out because it's just kind of like you're on like these tiny little islands and you're just going to another little floating island in the sky. So that's something that I think I couldn't imagine then the team just ditching these giant regions that they built.
Well, I would even say that this is just my assumption. right? It's not backed by anything. But I'm assuming like level design is going to be the fundamentals, not fundamentals, but the direction of level design changes depending on the genre of game. You would have it different for a roguelike as such as this compared to a RPG, compared to an MMO, compared to raids. Like that, it's very, very different. So my assumption is that the regions and the designs that we see in the MMO are actually going to be different from what we have now. It's going to be different level designs. I've nothing to back this up. It's just an understanding of level design, which has me come to that conclusion.
All right, Paz. I mean, you got any more thoughts on this? You were kind of going in and out. I'm not sure if you knew you're disconnected there, but what do you think about Breach? You think it's got any potential as like a standalone game? Do you think it's just kind of something cool, but we're waiting for the real thing? What I keep thinking, of just my quick opinion on it, is that like I've always said before, I don't think we should spread the community too thin with all these different games. I think we should just focus on one overworld type game, one PvP type game, and then when we get enough players, that really then we can expand from there. But I don't think we should have all these different options. Just personally,
Yeah, and I think Illuvium is thinking the same thing. Their main theme right now is focus, narrow attention. Right now, the attention's on Gauntlet. Once this is perfect, we're gonna start tournaments and all these marketing incentives. Once the game is in a presentable state, and then we're gonna move to MMO. We shouldn't, and that's why they're not throwing out. Oh, here is a little, you can play a little bit Breach, because people are gonna misinterpret it. Oh, this is the new MMO. Like, look at this, but it's not. So yeah, I don't think it should go out to the community, maybe to some trusted testers, but
yeah.
at this point we just need to focus on what's absolutely best for the project and not what's nice for the community.
Yeah.
I know
It,
this
it,
is probably a
I
hot
could see
take,
it
but yeah.
being like a pretty cool thing though, if they were able to just get this to a point where they could put it out to the community and be like, this is just something, fun that you can go out, test some of these new features while we're building the MMO light. Instead of like we've heard before, maybe they just shut down the overworld until the MMO light is ready. But then, that leaves people just basically with nothing if they're into that overworld. So maybe being able to play the Breach, and I'm sure there could be like some speed runs and stuff where people are seeing how far they can get in this, even if they know that it's not the long-term plan. I mean, because what they have
I
with
think
Breach,
it's not streamlined enough and all over the place. And Overworld will stay open as far as I know. I
yeah,
think we should really stick to our guns. Overworld, keep it open till MMO or as long as possible, and focus on Arena.
Again, there's one part where I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I say shut the overworld down. I can shut the overworld down and have a proper relaunch, a proper relaunch of a product, or not even a relaunch, just a launch of a new product, rather than keep it open and have it come across. Is the way I explain it is, imagine you want to go to you've been to an Indian restaurant, right? Or whatever, choose Italian restaurant, whatever restaurant you want. You go to it, the first time you've had it, you get food poisoning. And then next month, they're like, oh, we've changed the recipes. Are you going to go back there? No, you're probably going to go to a new restaurant that's opened up because you're like, I still crave Italian food, but I had a bad experience with that one. So it's the same thing. If people have had a less than ideal experience in Overworld and we keep it open and then we upgrade it, over time, people aren't going to want to come back. Like we've lost that trust. Whereas if you come up with a new product, people are going to be like, oh, look, they fumbled that one, but the IP is cool. Look, let me give this one a shot. They're more willing to give a new opportunity a shot than an opportunity that they felt burnt on.
the
Yeah,
only thing that
taking
I
that
worry about, I just worry about the people who have really been playing this, on a daily, weekly basis. I don't want to see them get screwed in any way. If it gets shut down and it gets reopened as the MMO Lite, I want to make sure that all those players who are putting in the time are like rewarded for their time, and not necessarily like in a monetary way, but like if they spend all their time working on
The,
leveling up these
the,
alluvials,
and
I want to see that.
I understand, and something needs to be done for sure. But we need to understand that in the grand scheme of things, sometimes you need to go through a little pain. That some sacrifices need to be made. You can't make everybody happy, and it sucks to say that, but that's the reality of it. You
Our
can't just
CEO Metafa is more like, okay, the restaurant, the food is not that good. People are not coming back and so on. So we need to change something. We know in 4 months we're gonna have this new Italian chef and we're gonna rebrand the whole restaurant. Are we gonna close down now for the next 4 months? Or are we just gonna keep serving our medium class foods until like a month before, then shut down, prepare and go? I think it's more about just giving
Again, this
people
is just
something
me.
to do.
See, for me, that's the thing. For me, I would shut it down. I'd shut it down and open a new place. Because again, you've already got a negative reputation. Like we're talking about the restaurant analogy, but the
Yeah,
restaurant analogy already has bad reviews on Yelp. I don't use Yelp. I think that's an American thing, but yes, bad reviews on Yelp. So even if they stay open, cool. You're just there's overhead costs. Are you actually generating enough revenue to cover the overhead? You have people
yeah,
to
that's the
hire.
other thing.
You have
How
bills.
much does
You
it
have
really
rent.
take to upkeep?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
and
just like
I don't know the details about Overworld, right? When we're talking about what's the overhead for Overworld, I don't know exactly. But yeah, again, I would take the. I mean, we were talking about it at the start of it. Sometimes you need to make the sacrifices. Both Najif and I had to get cut for the like. You can't make everyone happy.
Yeah.
Tough decisions need to be made,
well, that's
and
what I
there's
was
no
about to
running
say.
away
Like,
from that.
decisions are going to have to be made, and there's always going to be somebody who's unhappy about it. So really, you just got to almost blind that out and be like, what's best for Illuvium, and you're going to make somebody unhappy either way. But
And
anyways,
as a leader, as like it's your job to make that difficult decision and take it on the chin for as long as possible until you get proven right. Like it's not an easy thing to do. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it has to be done. I'm not saying
And we
what I'm
really,
saying is the right way to do it. That's what that in my point of view, that's the way I would see it going. But I'm not saying that's the be all and end all. I can see everything. From my limited knowledge, that's the way I'm looking at it from a marketing perspective.
yeah, and we have talked to the team because the community also wanted to know, hey, is it gonna speed up the MMO development a lot if we just close it? Because then it's obviously the best call. But they said it didn't change much because
Yeah,
they're not gonna work on it.
my argument wouldn't be about the development time. My argument would be about the marketing and the
Mm.
perception. Okay, we have Arena. That's doing its thing. That's polished. It's doing its thing. You have automated drone runs. That's doing its thing. If you keep Overworld open while you're building other things, you're going to get criticisms about the failings of Overworld. We haven't got this. We need missions. We need this. We need that. And you're not even putting any effort into it. So you're taking in all the criticism without solving any of it. Just eliminate that. Just take that away and say, hey, look, we're putting this on the shelf for now. It's not shelved forever. We're going to be focusing on this. Okay, you're going to get a few people that criticize, oh, but you didn't do this at the start. Fine. I'd rather deal with that than have the consistent flow of criticisms while I'm not even putting any effort into it. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, and I guess we come back to the point where the community, the current community, they are invested in every single product of Illuvium. And Illuvium has a lot of products. We have Beyond, we have 3 games, and so on. So no matter what you do to make the project better, you're gonna burn people. And it's, I think, really hard to figure out how much can you burn people? Can you just disregard the full current community and just do whatever is best for the project? It's, I don't know. I think they're drawing the line somewhere, and I hope it's the right line they draw.
yeah, and I'm curious to anyone watching what you think about the overworld. Like, should it be shut down?